Big TV advertising is for big brands with big dollars. Always has been and always will be.
Not anymore!
Hi, everybody. I'm podcaster Mike Hayes, and I love building local networking partnerships and bridges to connection riches. Now, along with my mountain agency partner, Ryan Haskins. Welcome, Ryan.
How you doing?
So I'm going to ask you to help me share how effectively and affordably Mountain has made connected TV for local businesses and especially for automobile dealerships, which is one of the case studies we're going to talk about today. So tell us a little bit about that, Ryan.
It starts with the ability to target very efficiently. So instead of just, trusting data that you hear from a TV network of who you're targeting and reaching, you can literally make those selections yourself and target by geo, by demographic, by different interests. And one of the unique parts of Mountain compared to other streaming services is that they can literally attribute your success by putting a tracking pixel on your site. And once you do that, that also improves your ability to target, because that pixel will look at what kind of keywords you have on your site. So if you're an auto dealership, it will look at the makes, the models, the years, other valuable information that consumers might read on your site. And then you can add those as keywords in your campaign. So if you're selling a specific model of car, then that allows you to target anyone who's searching on the internet for information about that kind of car. So obviously then you create a significant amount of relevance to who you're reaching. So you're not just running on streaming services hoping to find a relevant consumer, but you're finding people who are actively searching for information that you have on your site. So that's one very significant way that Mountain delivers for our clients.
Now, Ryan, I've explained a little bit how Mountain partnerships have really revolutionized local TV, but let's back up a little bit because now I've got you along with me to help explain how they've revolutionized it, and really also about the creative director of Mountain Agency Partners, Ryan Reynolds, and his amazing success, and really what the Ryan Reynolds method is all about is about local focus and local connections for really all small businesses, not only car dealerships, but let's talk a little bit about that and some of the other types of local businesses that you have some experience with as well as car dealerships.
Yeah, I think that's really the unique thing that Mountain provides, is that it's a large brand tool that has access and availability and ease of use for small businesses. And there's not this big threshold of spending that you need to get to be able to participate. So it really evens the playing field for small businesses and startups and whatnot to get involved in advertising in traditional ways. One of the other great tools of Mountain is the data and information that shows success. I think one of the big issues is there's a lot of trust involved in advertising a lot of times, and to have that layer of proof of performance is really valuable and something that Mountain delivers. So again, you have this pixel on your site. So each time you run a campaign, you can see how many visits to your site your campaign is attributing. So that's a validation and something that you can get more efficient over time, and you can set different goals. You can set a cost per visit, a cost per acquisition, which might be some kind of, they're doing some kind of engagement on your site that you want to optimize for. And this is just overall, this level of control and confirmation that your money is working hard for you is rare in the industry, especially in the TV or streaming space. Some of the bigger streaming services, it's hard to get data that's relevant. So Mountain provides that. No matter the size of your budget, there's a great dashboard. There's all sorts of details that you can optimize your campaigns for. And then you can even layer your campaigns in unique ways to optimize for creative. So there's an opportunity to invest in what's called prospecting, which would be like looking for relevant but new customers. And then there's retargeting, which is you could set slightly different goals, which is targeting people who have been at your site before, but trying to get them to come back. So it's two different unique ways to not only set up strategy, but also to set up creative. So you could imagine you would have one piece of creative to make someone interested in and come visit your site for more information, but you'd have another piece of creative or multiple pieces of creative to show those trust cues or give those extra reasons for why they should come back and be more likely to execute a desired goal. Because we always have to remember, consumers like to explore, but their time is short, and so you have to keep their attention. So just because you catch them with one or two ads and you get them to visit the site doesn't mean they're going to purchase. But if you revisit them with retargeting and give them an appealing reason to come back again, then that might be the difference between getting a sale or a new lead.
Now, Ryan, let's talk about one thing that you and I have a passion for, and that is forming partnerships with businesses. Now, I love focusing on local business partnerships, but also building bridges to connections and really helping people understand how to work in partnership, not putting the ad agency up on a pedestal, but really working as partners and really working together to get the best result.
Personally, I get very passionate about every client that I work on, and I learn a lot about their business, and my goal has always been to be an extension of their business, to act much more like a fellow employee than to act like a vendor. And so that was always my priority. And then how do we bring high-end, very experienced ad agency talent to small businesses without the high costs and the significant, duration of contracts? And so that's what we provide as well. And we do that with people who have 10 plus or more experience. A lot of us have 20 years or more. And the value in that is we understand the business. We can teach for those clients who want to learn and understand why things are happening, but we manage these things. Where going to a traditional agency, unfortunately, a lot of times you might have senior leadership who checks in every once in a while, but the people executing the work on the daily basis may be 23, 25, and have significantly less experience, which isn't a bad thing. There's some incredibly talented young people in the industry, but in terms of consistency and partnership, having someone with 10, 20 plus years of experience can be a competitive advantage, especially, which is necessary when you're a small business, because every dollar counts and you don't have a lot of money to waste.
Well, I think you and I have that in common, of really having a passion for being on the front lines and having the dashboard, which is just amazing. You talk about car dealerships having the dashboard, right? That's kind of where it came from. And dashboards today in automobiles are amazing. Well, now that's kind of what Mountain has brought to the table, is this concept of a dashboard and being able to be connected in a way that we've never been able to use before, and having AI to really help us to make the most of it and really kind of maximum effort AI. And that's one of the Ryan Reynolds methods that I love so much.
Yeah, for sure. The dashboards, information is power. And so having it in front of you is very meaningful. And unfortunately, some of the biggest vendors that you can work with in the world like to keep that information to themselves so that they can have control or that they can limit certain contributions that they need to make. But Mountain is very transparent. The data is right there at your fingertips. There's a variety of adjustments that you can make on a regular basis. And as I mentioned earlier, with the proper setup, you can run campaigns and you can see instantaneously, attributable success. You spend money, you see how many people are seeing your ad, you see how many people are visiting your site, etc. So, it delivers on a variety of goals. It delivers in an efficient way. And a very transparent way.
So tell me a little bit about some of your experience. I've been at this since I was 22 years old and worked for NBC in New York, and then I went into the TV infomercial industry, and one of my first clients was producing one of Tony Robbins' first direct response TV commercials. So I've been in direct response, and I've worked with really the legends of direct response for decades. Talk a little bit about your background and your experience and some of the niches that you are most interested in working with.
I've been very lucky to work for full service ad agencies that are some of the biggest in the world, including 11 of those 15 years at a wonderful place called Wieden and Kennedy. For those who aren't aware, Wieden and Kennedy is the shop that came up with the line "Just Do It" and has been working on Nike's business for over 40 years. I've also worked on a variety of other businesses and other categories, Old Spice, Equinox.
Okay. Ryan, tell me a little bit about your background with big brands in travel and beauty, but also now let's bring it down, thanks to Mountain, to the local level.
Yeah, I've had the great luck of working on some really well-known big brands, Nike, Booking.com, and several others, where we've helped them on a national level do advertising, but also on a global level. But those same brands and a variety of other brands, especially with my time with Bridge, need regional or even local level help. And so areas that we've had a great deal of success, beauty and fashion is an area, and that often we work with a variety of clients who might have a brick and mortar store or two, and they're trying to get traffic to those stores, but they're also trying to build an online presence so that they can, supplement that store traffic and store revenue with an online revenue. Especially when you have a partner like Mountain that helps you get very unique and specific targeting. You can leverage information of past customers and what you know about your audience and who you resonate with most to run certain types of campaigns, whether it's on Mountain or even other types of advertising, that make sure that every dollar you're spending is going to someone that falls into that unique niche or audience group, just making your money work a little bit harder.
I've got friends that are with FinFit Life, which is a unique insurance company that specializes in active lifestyle and helping people to save money.
We've helped CrossFit do one of their first campaigns in several years. We work with USA Lacrosse. We work with Perfect Game, which is a youth baseball focused brand, and a variety of other golf brands and fitness apparel brands. So we have deep ties in that category and experience. And it's been across the local, regional, national, and global scales. So we're built to help a variety of clients, but to do so in a very nimble and relevant way based on their needs, not ours or any past experience.
Okay, you hit on something that I want to talk about. I am a huge fan of CrossFit and the story of Greg Glassman. And what I love about that story is that he started it with one box or retail location in Santa Cruz. And he had an interview on 60 Minutes, and he talked about he had no business plan, he had no venture capital. He started in one local market. And then he grew it market by market by market into really a global TV brand, even the CrossFit Games. Sold it for about $200 million. But I always look for role models and models, success models that really work. And CrossFit is such a great story. And he said, the more media I put out there, the more money we make. I give away so much and I talk so much about how much we're doing. But that's the story, because if nobody knows about you, they can't hire you. So you've got to tell the story, especially if you got a great story like CrossFit has.
Yeah, I think it speaks in a lot of ways to small business in general, and this is trying to create a model that allows small businesses to learn and then to invest in non-scary ways.
Right.
Because our industry is famous for buzzwords and making everything sound super complicated and scary and expensive. And so it doesn't serve any of us if small businesses can't afford to execute and start testing and learning. So the best way we can move forward is finding efficient ways to test and learn, to make it less scary, so that brands can build up from one shop or one location and do tests to figure out what works locally. And then can you carry that regionally and have it still work? And then can you carry that nationally, and you can start growing brands, whether it helps them get a national presence online or whether it helps them open more locations. Testing and learning is a very necessary part of the process, and big brands can test and learn at a speed small brands can't keep up with, just purely because they have money. So having the right kind of partner and using the right kinds of tools and media methods helps expedite that for small businesses. And it's especially important to just have that kind of partnership where there's a level of trust, because a lot of small business owners are trying to run their business and they don't have time to learn marketing 101 and keep up with all these details. So the trust factor is exponentially more significant.
And AI is changing everything, so they really don't have a choice. It's changed everything, even connected TV. But now for a call to action. Reach out to our audience and ask them to connect with us to learn more. What would you have to say to them? What advice would you give them to get on the bridge to make the better connection, learn more, and get started with us and how we can help them?
I'm always willing to have a conversation. No strings attached. I take great pleasure. A lot of people help me in my path, and I like to return the favor and give back. And so I have a no strings attached process of I'm happy to talk through the problems that any business is trying to solve and how they might, how we might be able to support them in doing that. And so the first thing is just taking that step and having that leap of faith that maybe despite past experiences, there are ad agencies or ad agency alternatives that are out there that can help you navigate this complicated field and make it easier to understand and easier to invest and easier to succeed. So just, take that leap. And then we can talk through it and we can talk about the different hurdles and how we can or cannot help.
Well, my thinking is that all the old rule books have been changed by AI, and certainly Mountain has taken advantage of that. But it is a learning curve. So I would say to people, no matter where you are or what you thought you knew about direct response television, connected television, everything is really out the window. And we are on the cutting edge, and we have the proven method that has been proven by Reynolds, who is like the Steve Jobs today of modern media. So, it'd be like getting in on the ground floor of Apple. As far as I'm concerned, this is a starting bridge, and it's a great place to start. So, Ryan Raskins, thank you for joining me, and congratulations on your new baby.
Thank you very much.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Ryan.
Way over half of digital advertising dollars go to a certain search engine or a certain social network. Save some for the rest of us. At Mountain, we're bringing what you love about search and social to TV. Choose your own audience, set your own parameters, see immediate results. We're turning connected TV into performance TV. About time. It's getting a little claustrophobic in here.